Welcome back everyone to Unlucky 13 of Redstoning with Steve, and this week we're going to be going over smart pistons, and I somewhat regret going over them now because some of their properties have kind of been broken in 1.3, specifically ones with gravity blocks, i.e. gravel and sand, but nevertheless we shall plow on and we'll jump straight into it. First off, what are smart pistons? Now, smart pistons was something that was invented, I'm not going to say invented by Etho, but certainly popularized by him. We have this here, and it's a piston, right? Normally we'd have to power it, and it's already pretty hard. Okay. Normally we'd have to power it, and then it'd go. But we'd have to send power into it some way, through a lever, through anything, then power through it. A smart piston does not need that. We're going here. That will not work. See the setup I got? And we also need a block here. Now what's going to happen? This is permanently powering nothing at the moment, but when we place a block there, the power will travel through the block to this redstone dust. This redstone dust will power this block, which will power the piston. And there we go. We have a piston that will push automatically. Hence the name smart piston. It's smart because it can detect when a block is there. But don't try this with sticky pistons. Alright, now we'll go on to some of the sort of the things you can do with these, because they're very, very sort of flexible. So basically the main use for these smart pistons is to create automated systems, and specifically automated systems that are designed around block moving, and examples possibly ice generators. These are very useful for silverfish farms, where you get the silverfish inside the blocks. So we have here, this is a smart piston. This is the other way to make them. You can have a repeater going into the block as such, or the sideways ones you can just put a torch under, dust, block. Very, very simple. We have this here, and when we place it here, this is going to push all of the blocks over to here, but since this block goes over here now, it will chain, and this one will push it out here. And we can see this. You can see this. And we can put in blocks, and I've got another one set up over there. And you can see just by placing blocks in the one spot, we've moved the blocks all the way over there, and all it needed is a smart piston chain. If we wanted to do this kind of manually, we'd have to, every time we place something here, we'd have to have a big loop around here, but this is much, much more simpler. As you can see. And using this idea of kind of sequencing the smart pistons, you can create something like this. And I'll show you how it works quickly first. So we have the smart piston here, to another smart piston. This is the downwards variety. See, they all pushed. Continue to put blocks in here. And then we go until we finally get to the limit. And I put the obsidian blocks in there to specifically stop it at a certain point, because pistons will not push obsidian. Another thing they will not push is extended pistons, so they're a bit easier to acquire, should I say, in a sort of survival. So basically what's going on here is we have a smart piston here. You can see the typical smart piston design. This pushes the iron blocks, if I can place it, to this. What this is doing, if I can find it, we have this space here being powered permanently by this repeater, goes through to this repeater, up and up to this piston. And I've just used some sneaky glowstone in there to make the wiring a little more compact, just to make it not as messy. I don't even need that block. So fairly simple, just a smart piston. It will power through here and up to the piston, as you can see. Now what's happening down here is a little fancy. Basically this bottom block is the only smart piston in this whole row. what happens when we place a block there is this current travels through here, up here, powers this block, powers this piston through that block. This piston gets powered through this block over here. The next piston gets powered through this block, and the last piston gets powered through this block. So some sneaky sort of vertical wiring. Use a little bit of glowstone in there. Really, it's all up to you to find a way how to do this. It doesn't really matter how big it is, and could also use upside down half slabs here, just for some neat compact wiring. But basically, just a sort of spiral-ish up. And what happens when we do this? And I'll remove those blocks. We place something here. Every single piston fires. All of them fire. So basically, what that means is it will keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. It will have an entire row here, but only when it gets to this bottom one, it will push all the iron blocks out of the way, and then we'll leave space for this piston to again cycle back in. You can see it worked again. And it won't fire the last time because I've got obsidian there just blocking it. And you can see we get a full wall of iron blocks very, very quickly. And if we had this hooked up to something like an ice generator, we will get these very, very quickly. So before I move on to the next kind of demonstration, I want to discuss the orientations you can have these smart pistons in. And starting off with the sideways one. Very, very simple. I think we've proved very well that that these work very well. Whether you have this torch or the repeater going in, these are going to work all day, every day. And the upwards one, we've proved in this, works very well. Very easily. And there's my lag. That's good. And yeah, just like this, see it light up there. Very simple. But we hit a roadblock when we come to the upwards facing smart piston. Now, we just put our repeater in here. Oh, well, there we go. And you can see it's not even a bud switch. It's actually powering the piston directly. So it is impossible to have the repeater going in here. And because it is upwards facing, we can't use a torch anywhere. Now, how would we remedy this? Well, we do this. We actually change this for a sticky piston. And you may think we would do this, and then you'd think we'd have a block there and when we can push blocks up. But this doesn't work. So the way we actually fix this is by putting a glass block or any other block that doesn't conduct redstone. So glowstone would also work here, as would I believe regular or upside down half slabs will work here as well. So, and you can see we have upward smart piston. Very, very easy. For my curiosity, I do want to test half slabs here. Yep, and upside down ones should work as well. Yep, so there you go. Any non-conductive block will do there, and that's because if you have a conductive block up here, this pairing this will actually create a bud switch. It's the quasi-connectivity bug. For those of you who have watched the bud switches video of Redstoning with Steve, episode 8 I believe, from memory. So now that we've got that figured out, we can come to this little contraption, and it will make itself clear in a sec. And we're going to put our sticky piston there. We'll go half slab, why not? And we're going to have to be a little tricky here. And I think our piston's there, so we'll have it running in like that. Just to check it works. Yep, all good. And now, you may have seen in my inventory before, and may have already deduced what we are making here. Cobblestone generator. Automatic cobblestone generator, as you can see. Now we're going to go up here very quickly, and we're too slow, and this will burn out eventually, so we actually need to smart piston, and this says jam, so we'll just reset it as such. And if we use something like that from the last thing, we can have a big wall of cobblestone before we know it. This will also work with ice generators, works very, very well. I believe static has a very, very good design. I'll try and find it if I can. You see it's burnt out because pistons can only push 13 blocks. Static has a good design for a good ice generator that does this kind of thing. I may post a link, but the cobblestone generator is pretty basic. It's pretty widely used design. So that's a way these smart pistons can be very, very, very useful. If you want a large amount of cobblestone on a structure, this can also be used to create actually self-building houses or self-building bridges, which are very, very useful. And I guess I'll go through one last little trick of these smart pistons. Now this is the last little setup I wanted to kind of show you, just for a little bit of fun. And I want actually an indicator. This will do. Alright, now let's deduce what's happening. You can see it's perfectly symmetrical. You can see if we place a block here, it will power the block and send current to, and I've got this totally backwards, and I should be that was very silly of me, I apologize, but this is now correct. Place the block there, it will go through and power this piston on all 4 of them. And what happens? Of course, we created a piston clock. So this is the alternative to the redstone clock. The only disadvantage is that it creates a little lag, so I missed it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it does create a little lag, so it's kind of impractical to use, but you know, if you wanted to go the I don't know. If you wanted to go more piston-oriented route, or didn't, it's very space efficient, which is, I guess, the advantage of it. But yeah, just wanted to show you another kind of use for these, how you can sequence them more. And yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. I think it was quite informative. I hope it was quite informative, and it's because a lot of people, you know, they learn about smart pistons, but they can't really put them to use in sort of any applications, and especially the upwards smart piston was pretty unknown for a while. No one really had an idea how to make it, but very, very simple, as you can see, and you can create some self-building structures. If you could create something cool with this, maybe post a video response. I'd love to see a really cool self-building bridge or self-building house. I think that'd be cool. I'll leave, well, of course, you can always post video responses to any of my videos, of course, and yeah, go right ahead. And leave your comment for this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and tell us what you think. So, without any further ado, I will end the episode, and I will catch you later, guys.